Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
To head the review, how about someone other than the Attorney General whose department is so deeply involved? That makes no sense to me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. We are back live, and I hope you had a very safe, fun Memorial Day weekend. I hope you took the time to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice and in preserving our freedom for our country, for our loved ones, for our children. And, you know, so many people don't understand. I heard so many people talk about, almost meshing it with Veterans Day and how we have to do more for our veterans. But it's Memorial Day. It's the one day. It used to be called Decoration Day, where you decorate the tombstones and the grave sites of those who perished in wars fighting for our country with flowers or whatever. But Memorial Day is for those who are no longer with us. You can't see them in the crowd. They're not there. You can't be talking to them. They're not alive anymore. They made the ultimate sacrifice, and I hope you took time out of your busy schedule on Memorial Day and over the weekend to share in some of that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we played a soundbite off the top of the show from Bob Schieffer, and Bob Schieffer weighed in and commented that he would like to see someone other than the Attorney General investigate the Attorney General. And that, of course, is that would make sense. Joining us now is Congressman Peter King from New York. He is former chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, where he is now a member, but he's the chair of the subcommittee on terrorism. Hello, Congressman. How are you?
Hi, Steve. How are you doing?
Good to talk to you. I just played a soundbite, which I want you to weigh in on. Bob Schieffer said it would be nice if someone other than the Attorney General were tabbed with investigating the Justice Department and the Attorney General. I mean, that would seem to make sense. On all the scandals here, why don't you start with let's start with Benghazi first of all, then we'll get to that. Darrell Issa has issued a subpoena today to the State Department. He wants all the documents on the Benghazi talking points. You know, the White House dumped 100 of them a few weeks ago, but there are hundreds more. Where are we on Benghazi, and do you feel that the White House or the State Department will comply with this?
No, Steve, the more we learn about Benghazi, the more we realize we have to learn. I've been at hearings in the Intelligence Committee. I've been to briefings. I've been talking to sources I have in the government. And the fact is, for instance, no one on the ground that night in Benghazi, no American on the ground that night said anything about a video. The one thing they all said was that it was an attack, a terrorist attack. Nobody said anything about a demonstration. And yet that was the narrative for 10 days afterwards. Where did that begin? How did it start? Who was behind it? I think it's important to know where was the president the night of the attack. That, to me, goes into the whole thought process, who put this theory together. But probably most important of all, going toward the future, is to why there was not more security at the consulate when they were told months before that there was a real chance of attack, a very real chance of attack, and there had been a number of attacks, and it was an al-Qaeda stronghold. And also, now, I'm still not certain whether or not the military could have gotten there that night or not. Let's assume that it couldn't have. In some ways, that's even more of an indictment. Why was the military not pre-positioned in such a dangerous zone that they could arrive on very short notice? If you know that an area is so dangerous, if you know there is not adequate security at the consulate itself, wouldn't you have military on standby within, if not a moment's notice, very quick notice? And yet it was not there. So you have all of that, and then you have, again, going forward with Benghazi, why that story continued. Was it totally politics about the video and the phony demonstration? So that's just part of what we have to know about Benghazi, and probably most importantly for the future. What other outposts are there around the world right now where we've been told more security is needed, where has not been provided, and what are we doing to protect our people at those outposts?
All right, now I want to get you in on this one. The House Judiciary Committee is investigating whether Eric Holder lied under oath on May 15th talking about the surveillance of reporters. This according to several sources. The panel's looking at a statement that he made in a back and forth with Congressman Hank Johnson about whether the department could prosecute reporters under the Espionage Act of 1917. He said, quote, "In regard to potential prosecution of the press for the disclosure of material, this is not something I've ever been involved in, heard of, or would think would be wise policy." But now we know that Holder approved a search warrant labeling Fox News chief Washington correspondent James Rosen a co-conspirator in exactly that kind of investigation.
To me, that certainly has, on its face, that certainly could be perjury. And the reason I'm saying could be, I know there's always precise standards to meet. Having said that, that certainly warrants a full investigation as to whether or not perjury was committed there. I know that there's been other people over the years indicted for perjury or charged for perjury for testifying before Congress on a lot less evidence than that.
Okay, we're talking to Congressman Peter King. Let's move to Homeland Security. We saw what happened in Paris. Police now are searching for a bearded man they saw praying, or someone saw praying, before he attacked a soldier in a copycat attack, apparently, of what took place in London. We have the former MI5 head calling for people to spy on their neighbors, saying that the enemy is everywhere. And this, of course, comes on the heels of the bombing that we had here at the Boston Marathon, and the triple murders apparently committed by those two brothers, with another suspect who was killed by the FBI during questioning, where also they went for chopping off the heads. This is not a good time right now.
No, and yet, well, I don't know, Steve. The president said we're winding down the war against terror, so it must be getting better, right? No, let's be serious. In many ways, the world is more dangerous right now. In many ways, the terror threat is more dangerous now than it was on September 11th, 2001. And for the president to be saying what he did last Thursday, that somehow we can declare victory in this or we can phase it down, in many ways it's more dangerous. And what we saw in Boston, we've seen in London, we've seen in Paris, that is the face of al-Qaeda. That is the face of Islamic jihad. And unless we face up to it and realize that that's going to be here for a long time, until we stop it, until we kill it, until we make sure that we have the strongest possible defenses and we're going on offense. Because if we keep waiting, or if we wait for them to attack us and try to stop the attack, they're going to win, because they only have to get through once or twice. We have to stop them every time. We have to go out front. We have to be preemptive. We have to stop them before they get to us.
Congressman, in that speech, the president said that the Muslim community has always been ready to help, has always been ready to volunteer information, has always been actively involved in this fight and struggle against terrorism. You've held hearings on this. Is that what you found, or isn't it true that these so-called civil rights groups, which I say so-called, CARE and others, have constantly given the Muslim American community advice on how not to cooperate with law enforcement?
Now, there's too many people in the Muslim community who do not cooperate. Listen, the overwhelming majority of Muslims are good Americans. But the fact is, we've had case after case where there are plots coming from within the Muslim community where we have not gotten the assistance from the Muslim community. For instance, it's my understanding, and this is what I've been told by the law enforcement people, that, for instance, when the pictures of the two jihadists in Boston were put up on it was Thursday afternoon, late Thursday afternoon, those photos were made known. Not one person in the mosque in Boston came forward to identify them. That's impossible to believe. With the whole world knowing about what happened, the whole world looking at those faces, that not one person in that mosque recognized either one of those brothers. So, and I can go on to other examples where it's the reason why police and law enforcement have to use so many undercovers, why they have to penetrate into the community, because we are not getting the level of cooperation that we should be getting.
All right, I got one more for you, and this speaks directly to Homeland Security, and it's not been made a big deal yet, but I think it should, and Charles Schumer weighed in on it, actually. First of all, there's a report today in the Washington Post talking about how a confidential report listing U.S. weapons system has been hacked by Chinese cyber spies. With that as a backdrop and all the other attacks they've made on our infrastructure and defense mechanisms and weapons systems, now we have Sprint. the world's the number 3 cell carrier, is up for sale, and the Obama administration seems ready and poised to approve the sale to a Japanese company named SoftBank, which uses Chinese networking equipment. And there are many fears out there that this could open up, the door for more Chinese cyber spying and all kinds of interruptions of our cell phone networks, etc. Do you believe that there should be, as Chuck Schumer says, extreme caution used when reviewing the proposed acquisition of Sprint?
Absolutely. There's no doubt at all. This is a new form of warfare. It's a warfare that we have to accept, and we have to accept that it's there and then go after it. No, we can't allow corporate profits. Now, again, what's going to happen in this particular case, I can't say, but I can say that we cannot allow corporate profits to come first. We have to make sure that our national security, our homeland security is there, and we have to do all we can to make sure that we are protecting our people against this type of cyber invasion.
And of course, Dish Network wants to buy Sprint, and it behooves me as to why the Treasury Department or the FEC and the FCC and the rest of them would be leaning towards a Japanese company using, with questionable ties to a Chinese company when Dish Network wants to buy the thing in the first place.
Right.
All right.
No, I agree with you, but this again, all the American people, including myself, we have to realize the real impact of this cyber warfare that's going on. It's not something you see in front of you, but it's there, and it's happening, and it's deadly.
All right. Congressman, as always, thank you, sir. Good to talk to you.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care. Congressman Peter King, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, Rutgers, who fired their basketball coach and athletic director over the incident where the coach was abusive to players, has now hired what former players are calling an abusive athletic director, and it's a she. We'll talk to the man who broke the story on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind, to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
There wasn't one in particular thing. It was a couple years of just undermining our dignity, our confidence, our teamwork, and we didn't always realize what was going on until we got together. And of course, she was very open with calling us whores and alcoholics and learning disabled, just like the Star Ledger mentions and just like the letter mentions.
All right, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, ladies and gentlemen. That is Kelly Hanlon, former University of Tennessee volleyball player, coached by Rutgers' new athletic director, Julie Herman, talking to Anderson Cooper, telling him how 16 years ago, Julie Herman, as coach of her team, called the girls whores and drug addicts, and they wrote a letter, and she quit. She walked out on the team because they all wanted her, off the team. But she says she doesn't remember any of it. The man who broke the story is with us right now, and that's Craig Wolf, sports reporter and editor for the Star Ledger. Hey, Craig, how are you, sir?
Good, Steve. How you doing?
I'm fine. All right. So walk us through this a little bit. Of course, Rutgers fired their basketball coach because of abusive behavior in a video. Then they fired their athletic director. They hired Julie Herman, and now it appears that Julie Herman did exactly the same kinds of things, maybe without the physical contact, abusive behavior, name-calling, etc., 16 years ago when she was a volleyball coach at Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right. And these players who are now in their mid-30s, and of course spread across the country, saw news reports of her being introduced as the new Rutgers coach. And they have said that if it weren't for the fact that she was being appointed specifically at Rutgers, they likely would never have step forward to talk about their experience all those years ago. That it was the idea that she was being hailed as a healer that essentially pulled off a scab that they'd been carrying around for all these years.
Well, here's the thing. We found out yesterday she did a phone interview with ESPN where she said that she has got a vote of confidence from the president of Rutgers, Barkey, and that she said it's been communicated to me that I'm the athletic director. I'll lead Rutgers into the Big Ten. But here's a woman, you could say, 16 years ago, allegations. But here's a woman who says, I don't remember it happening, when in fact they were all called together and they handed her a letter signed by all 16 volleyball members. She quit at that point. I mean, how could she not remember any of this?
I'm going to leave other people to sort of figure that out. As I see my job right from the get-go was to simply report. This story started out in my mind as a profile, a piece that would essentially let folks know who this new athletic director coming in at this really critical time for Rutgers, who is she? And my reporting took me in a completely different direction, and where these players were all too ready to, I shouldn't say all too ready, but again, as I said before, that they were rankled by all of this. To the point, they said, These players were not at first on the record with me. It took a few days, essentially, to persuade them.
How did you find them? They reached out to you? Or how did you find them?
No, I went through old rosters.
Okay.
And did. I went to the white pages.
Good old-fashioned reporting.
And to.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm proud of the reporting, no doubt. At the same time, we can only wonder as to why Rutgers didn't do this basic sort of vetting sort of work.
All right, let me ask you, Craig. Are you surprised that the president of the university has come out so quickly and given her a vote of confidence?
I think this is, if you actually read his letter closely, I don't know that he quite really went that far. I mean, that's sort of how it's being cast. It's how we're casting it. But it's not as if he said, this is her job. That's not going to change. I think Rutgers officials are right now trying to sort this all out. I think it's not a small thing that this all broke over Memorial Day weekend. So a lot of these conversations were happening over the phone while people were out there,
right?
On vacations and so forth. So
and there will be pushback from contributors, from alumni at the university, correct? I mean, they weren't happy about Pernetti getting fired in the first place.
And potentially from Governor Christie. I know that he's with the president today, so he's not going to issue any public. Nothing's going to happen publicly today, but conversations are going on, presumably behind the scenes.
Right. Hey, Craig, great work. Thank you for it. Good to talk to you again, my friend. It's been a long time.
Okay. Same here.
Take care. Craig Wolf, ladies and gentlemen, editor and reporter at the Star-Ledger, broke the story. This woman just has no memory that she ever had any problems with these 16 players who wrote a letter. They all signed it. They said they wanted the coach removed, and she walked out on the team at that point 16 years ago. But she doesn't remember calling them whores and drug addicts. How could she keep this job? How did she get this job? What the heck is wrong with Rutgers? On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920.
This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
Yeah, the philosopher Jay-Z had it right. We don't believe you. You need more people. We don't even know you. You pop out of nowhere. The Republicans seem incapable of making any kind of planning. You're talking about Oklahoma, where they won't even have $12.9 billion for disaster mitigation because they don't want to study. Planned Parenthood is not about abortions. It's about cervical cancer screenings. It's about breast cancer screenings. And it's about teaching people how to be parents. Now here you got E.W. Jackson popping up. And here's a guy who's a black puppet. He's being ventriloquized. His mouth is moving, but white supremacist ideology is floating through it, and the most repressive sorts of ideas that we can imagine are being evoked here. Black people are not dumb. Just because you put a black face on buffoonery, we still know the color of ignorance.
There they go again. The worst kind of racism. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Michael Eric Dyson on MSNBC. Just jumping all over comments made by the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor. And what I'd like to do is play cut 15. Bishop E.W. Jackson, who is the vice presidential candidate, the lieutenant governor candidate in Virginia. And before we get to our guest, Dr. Jason Johnson, let's listen to what prompted Eric Dyson to say his mouth is moving, but white supremacist ideology is flowing through it. And he called him a black puppet, a ventriloquist. Here's cut 15.
The message to Christians in the black community. It is time to end the slavish devotion to the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has created an unholy alliance between certain so-called civil rights leaders and Planned Parenthood, which has killed unborn black babies by the tens of millions. Planned Parenthood has been far more lethal to black lives than the KKK ever was.
Dr. Dyson, what's going on here? Is this an attempt to make Ken Cuccinelli, this year's Republican nominee for governor, look less extreme because he's a hard righty too? What about this?
Okay, so then he followed up with the repulsive comments about the Reverend. Joining us now to talk about that and other issues is Dr. Jason Johnson, our friend, senior politics editor for Politic365.com. How was your weekend, sir?
I had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. My brother and my father are veterans, so it's always very special to me.
Great. Okay. Glad to hear that. All right. So, we've talked about this many times about how the left and how especially the media and minorities in the media will take to task any conservative minority, whether it's black, Hispanic, or even a female. And as long as they don't hold to the line that they believe blacks, Hispanics, or women should hold, and I believe that's racism and sexism, they'll call them all kinds of names. names and, Oreo cookie, whatever, step and fetch it. And here you heard ventriloquist, black puppet, all these repulsive kinds of remarks. What's your take on Michael Eric Dyson's comments?
I mean, first off, it's not racist to have a disagreement over what kind of beliefs the people have. Michael Eric Dyson is entitled to his opinion. Michael Eric Dyson is a philosopher. He's a political science professor. That's what he thinks. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really think that what the lieutenant governor candidate said is particularly productive. I mean, and that's the honest to goodness truth. That rhetoric of black people need to get off the Democratic plantation, it is dumb strategy-wise, it is insulting, and that actually comes from some very racist roots. So, I don't think that Michael Eric Dyson said the wisest thing in the world, but then again, he's not running for office. He's a pundit. He's paid to express his opinion. But as a guy who's running for office, I think the lieutenant governor needs to be a lot more careful about how he speaks to all the constituents whose votes he's trying to get.
Well, so let me get this straight. So the remarks made by the lieutenant governor and the reverend come from racist roots, but Michael Eric Dyson's comments, a black puppet, ventriloquist, whatever, that's not race. There's no racist roots there. There's no racism there.
How would that be racist?
How would that be racist? I'll tell you exactly how it would be racist. Calling someone a black puppet? Why, just because he's black, he could say that?
But to know who they can vote for.
No. Just because Eric Dyson's black, he could say black puppet?
Why is that racist?
Oh, if I said it, that would be fine? That'd be okay?
I don't speak for all black people, Steve, but what I'm saying is this. Michael Eric Dyson, as far as he's concerned, and I don't, look, I don't know Michael personally. I can't talk about everything that Dr. Dyson believes. But when you hear someone repeating this nonsense about black people needing to get off the Democratic plantation, yes, there are some very, very racist roots. Is that what the bishop meant? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know the man. But if you say, this is the core issue, and we've talked about this before when it comes to Republican Party and black people. Why don't most black people vote Republican over the last 40 years? Either it's because black people are stupid or because the Republican Party has done a crappy job of communicating to them. It's one or the other. And when you say black people need to get off the Democratic plantation, you are saying blacks are dumb, that they only vote Democrat because they don't know any better. And that is
well,
racist.
Why would they vote Democrat when the Democratic policies have kept them in a perpetual welfare state? Not the entire black community, but a good deal of the black community. Those policies have been proven to be failure. Education in this country stinks. Blacks are the ones who are the poorest recipients of it. It is a vicious, and by the way, I think Michael Eric Dyson was specific to the remarks made about the Planned Parenthood versus the KKK.
Right.
And those remarks have been made by Dr. Elvira King and many in the black clergy.
So what you're saying then is you think black people are stupid for voting Democrat.
I didn't say they're stupid. Don't put words in my mouth.
Here's the thing. Why has the Republican, and I know why, everyone knows why. It's because the Republican Party has done a crappy job of explaining their policies to the black community. It's because the Republican Party does a horrendous job of describing specifically how their opposition to affirmative action, how their general hostility towards funding for public schools in certain school systems is actually going to be...
Really? What school systems don't... I thought it was Barack Obama who canceled the D.C. voucher program, which gave the poorest blacks in the worst schools hope. Which Republicans are they exactly, and what certain school districts are against public funding of education? I'd like to know.
Large numbers of Republican governors in North Carolina, Republican governors in Virginia.
They don't fund public schools?
They have said repeatedly that they want to pull away funding from schools that are deemed as failing.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Good for them.
But here's the larger issue. It doesn't matter.
That makes them against education?
It doesn't matter specifically what Obama did. We're talking about the Republican Party and why this guy who's running for lieutenant governor.
But you see, one of the reasons the black community is where it is because they respect people like you who are the same ethnicity, and you come up with these cockamamie statements which they believe. Many Republican governors are against public education, and I press you, and you give me some vague non-answer.
And that's part of the problem. You're speaking about black people as if we're some huge monolith. Where
I absolutely. You know what? Don't ever say that. You see, it's Michael Eric Dyson. It's Michael Eric Dyson and people like him who make the racist remarks that this is a black puppet because a black could never believe what he's saying. Someone's got to be doing his back. That's the racism. I never say that any group is monolithic, ever.
You just said black people are in the condition that they're in because they listen to people like Michael Eric Dyson and myself.
No, I said you asked the question. Wait, you asked the question, why don't blacks vote for Republicans? What, are they stupid? And I said one of the problems is that many black people respect people like you who are leaders in the community, and you spew this garbage. That's what I said. Because you say, oh, Republicans don't like funding education. I press you, and you say, some Republican governors want to close failing schools. Yeah, so?
Exactly. And because you also have Republican governors in Michigan, in Florida, in Ohio, who've done everything in their power to make it more difficult for black people to vote. If the Republican Party decided to take responsibility for their messaging and their policies, they probably could have won the last two presidential elections. They probably could have gone back to the 80s when they used to get 10, 12, 15% of the African-American vote, at least. But the party has failed. And every single time someone brings that to their attention, even if it's Michael Eric Dyson with inappropriate comments, Republicans respond just like you're responding by saying, no, it's black people and their silliness. It's black people.
No. Listen. I got to tell you, Professor, stop putting words in my mouth. I did not ever say black people and their silliness. So you might think that, but I have never said it. So please don't put words in my mouth. I'll ask you for the third time.
Black people being misled by people who spew garbage. And again, you still didn't address my core question.
We're not here to talk about the Republican. I think the Republican Party outreach stinks. Not their policies, their outreach. I agree with you.
There we go.
But that's not the issue here. The issue is what Dyson said, which you finally said were inappropriate comments. Now let's move on, if we can, to our friend, your friend. What's her name here? Melissa Harris Perry. Melissa Harris Perry, again, demeaning and diminishing slavery by these remarks, in my view. Let's go to cut 32.
I also appreciate that the hunger strikers are not trying to die. They're trying to generate autonomy in the context of something that strips their humanity, something we certainly know about from the experience of American slavery, and that the language of before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Just that idea of creating human freedom within the context of horrible human conditions.
Not only is she comparing prisoners on a hunger strike with slaves, and their cause, equating their cause of somehow, but she's also equating Guantanamo Bay prisoners as slaves when it's been shown by people who have been there, liberal reporters, conservative reporters, officials. I mean, they just spent millions of dollars to revamp the soccer field. I don't think slaves had it that good. Why is it that she has to demean what slaves went through and equate terrorist prisoners at a prison with slavery?
Okay, now this is almost humorous to me. You find Melissa Harris Perry comparing Guantanamo prisoners to slaves to be offensive, but you don't find it offensive when a man running for office says that people who vote Democrat are acting like slaves on a plantation.
No, he never said slaves. I believe, and I don't know the man either, like you don't know the man, so I could only guess. We've heard that phrase before. That phrase is because blacks vote Democrat 95%. So that's and the policies don't benefit blacks. So I would never use that phrase, but he's a black man and he wants to. But I don't understand how terrorist prisoners at a prison doing something is like down with the slavery, the same things the slaves did. I don't get that.
What she's suggesting, and it's philosophy. What she's suggesting is if you are in a place where you feel that your freedom is being denied fairly or unfairly, there are ways that you can establish some freedom by taking control of your own body. But again, I say to you, this is part of the issue here in our public discourse, that this you can be offended by, but a man running for office who's saying the same thing. The plantation reference is a reference to slavery. That's why people say the Democratic plantation, because they used to be the Dixiecrats, because they were the party that supported slavery. That's where it comes from. So if Melissa is offensive, then what the lieutenant governor candidate said is just as offensive. I personally don't care about either one. Melissa's paid to run her mouth. She can say what she wants to say. If that's her philosophy, that's fine. But I think that when you're running to represent people, you have an obligation to be more sensitized to the historical references that you make.
All right, let's move on. We'll agree to disagree there, too. Let's move on. We're talking to Dr. Jason Johnson, Senior Politics Editor, Politic365.com on the Steve Malzberg Show. There was a police beating in, I believe, Sacramento. I don't even know the race of the, to be God truthful honest, I don't know the race of the person being beaten in the video. I just know that the cops weren't black, and again, the woman doing the beating could have been Hispanic. I don't know, but I just wanted you to get in on this. This is cut number 9.
From what I saw, I don't think so, because it was a police officer on top of that man's back, and it was on his head, so I don't feel like it was justified. But I can't just honestly say that it was, because I didn't see it from the beginning. I don't know what the man did.
Okay, so what we just saw, for those who couldn't see it, was a black police officer on top of a man, a white, apparently, or Hispanic female officer beating him with the baton. But here is the next cut. Listen, give a listen. This is what troubles me. That was an eyewitness account. She took the cell phone video. But here's cut 10. This is the news anchor, and then the reporter. Here's cut 10.
Before you go, because there's so much more to explore in this piece of videotape, it is so very troubling to see when there are anybody in authority holding someone down who apparently is not armed. These are extraordinarily troubling pictures to watch. But we don't know a lot in this case, and that's where I want to go with you later on in this newscast. We don't know if this suspect, this man who later died, why he or she died, if there were drugs in the system.
All right, now I don't know if you know the race, because I'm sure if the man turns out to be black and the woman turns out to be white, it'll heighten the controversy. If he was black, if he wasn't, it'll go away, the way our media works. But I found what disturbed me most of all was the news anchor saying this man apparently wasn't armed. Apparently wasn't armed. He had just beaten somebody inside a store, ran out. This black officer was trying to hold him down and cuff him. He was moving his legs. He wouldn't stay still. They kept commanding him, stay still, and hitting him every time he wouldn't. I mean, this preconceived notion that, well, you know, he's being held down. Apparently he's not armed. Cops don't know if he's armed until they cuff him. What's your take on what took place?
In general, I am usually inclined to give police the benefit of the doubt. It's an extremely difficult and very dangerous and very thankless job. There are more than enough bad cops out there that get away with things that we should take regular police officers who are just trying to do their job, who occasionally make mistakes, and shouldn't rake them over the coals. This isn't Rodney King. This isn't the young man shot in Fruitdale. This isn't Amadou Diallo. It looks to me like, from everything that I have seen so far, it looks to me like the police were behaving responsibly. This guy was a danger.
Well, so we agree. We could debate Amadou Diallo one day. Those cops were acquitted by a jury with a black foreman, by the way. Anyway, that's a whole other case for a whole other time. Doctor, thank you for your time as always, sir.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
All right, thank you. Dr. Jason Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, agree to disagree. What could I say? But very interesting. The one thing I don't like, especially, I mean, ever, but especially when it comes to racial things, and I know he didn't do it on purpose, and he backtracked. I don't like words put in my mouth. I say what I say, and I am the one who takes Michael Eric Dyson to task, the bigots in the media who attack a Sarah Palin because she's a woman who's pro-choice and a conservative, who attack a Condoleezza Rice as Aunt Jemima, who attack a Michael Steele as an Oreo cookie, who attack a Clarence Thomas as a sellout. I'm the one always defending the minority in that case, or the female in that case, and attacking the attackers as racists, because I believe the attackers, believe that African Americans have to be monolithic, and anybody outside of that, with views outside of that, therefore they're a puppet, they're a black puppet, they're some kind of horrible name, because they're not really black. See, that they're the racists to me. I've never said that a group is monolithic. Never. Not Jews, not blacks, not whites, no group is monolithic. And the sooner Michael Eric Dyson and people like him learn that and stop attacking with racist, vicious names, in my view, those who are different or outside the norm of that group, politically speaking, I think we'll all be a lot better off. We're coming back with much more on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now. Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54 with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. 855-777-9660. 855-777-9660. Let's get to a phone call. We have David in Dallas. Hello, David. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Steve? Great.
Good, thank you.
Listen, I wanted to thank you so much for the interview you had, I guess it was earlier today, about with Wayne Besson on the Boy Scouts.
No, Wayne Besson is the head of a group called Truth Wins Out, a homosexual group, and he's executive director. That was Friday about the Boy Scouts' decision to allow in gay
Friday.
scouts. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it today. So I wanted to compliment you on that because I dealt with Wayne Besson personally before on many of these issues. I'm on the forefront of a lot of these issues, not in the Boy Scouts, but over in California where we're fighting. I'm the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit against the egregious law, SB 1172, which outlaws reparative therapy for children who
That's the one, yeah, where parents are
Yeah.
prohibited from taking their kids to get therapy if they kids at a young age think they're gay or confused sexually, and I think it's outrageous that parents are restricted in that regard.
Well, here's the real kicker, which they didn't plan for, but we, of course, are putting this out, which obviously they're doing this in New Jersey as well and Massachusetts now and blah, blah, blah. But the real kicker is that this particular law makes it illegal for this kind of therapy for even children who have been molested or raped by same-sex older perpetrators for whom those are causes, at least one of the causes of their homosexual feelings. It violates children's rights. It actually, because of this egregious law, it furthers, visits upon children a furtherance of their sexual abuse issues when we're talking about these specific issues.
Well, listen, you know what? I would. We have your number. Maybe we'll do a segment on this on the show because that law is outrageous, and like you said, they're looking to expand that law to other states. David, spread the word about the show, okay? It's on Newsmax.com and it's on XM 244 every day, 3 to 6 Eastern. Thank you, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk to Stephen Moore of the Wall Street Journal and John Fund on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530.
This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. There is increased pressure on Syrian President Assad today. The European Union has lifted a ban on arms shipments to rebels, and Senator John McCain has just wrapped up a secret meeting with anti-Assad forces. McCain's trip comes as the United States is trying to negotiate a diplomatic resolution to the 2-year-long civil war there. McCain has said he believes the United States has abandoned the rebel fighters, and he reportedly wanted to show them that the American people have their back.
Unless Bashar Assad is convinced that the battlefield situation will not be in his favor, in other words, if he believes he can survive, I do not believe that he will seriously negotiate.
Meanwhile, the Obama administration is looking for a diplomatic end to the war. It sent Secretary of State John Kerry to Paris to meet with the Russian foreign minister to try and achieve those ends. But McCain says he first wants the United States to implement a no-fly zone over Syria, which would dramatically change the situation on the ground. Also, President Obama and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie meet again on the Jersey Shore today. They checked in on the rebuilding effort there 7 months after Superstorm Sandy ripped apart parts of the eastern seaboard. New Jersey will receive $25 billion in aid, and rebuilding efforts there have already helped the shore's economy bounce back somewhat. Today's trip might help some people forget briefly about the White House scandals, and Christie, who is running for re-election in New Jersey in 2014, might regret this trip, some say. If he does plan to run for the White House in 2016, some say these photo ops will come back to haunt him. And more trouble for cruise passengers. This time it's aboard a Royal Caribbean ship. A fire burned for about 2 hours aboard the Grandeur of the Seas while it was off the coast of Florida on its way to the Bahamas from Baltimore. The ship did not lose power and was able to dock safely in the Bahamas Monday afternoon. All 2,224 guests, along with a crew of 800, were accounted for and are all okay. Coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, new video from storm chasers see what it looks like inside a devastating storm similar to the one that hit Oklahoma. And a Newsmax exclusive with RNC Chairman Reince Priebus on the White House scandals. Next.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policy policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers, too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Welcome back. As thousands of people work to recover from last week's devastating tornado in Oklahoma, we have some new video to show you that shows you just how intense it can be inside one of those storms. 2 storm chasers captured this insane footage of a tornado with wind speeds as high as 175 miles per hour. This is in Kansas, and while they were recording this footage, one of the chase vehicle's doors blew off. The truck, though, managed to stay on the ground. The 2 storm chasers inside were also okay. This might be used for a movie someday. And during a Newsmax exclusive, Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican National Committee, says recent steps taken by the White House to dull the impact of recent scandals don't do nearly enough.
They should get rid of everybody that was involved in this. I mean, they can quickly figure out who those people are, and they can conduct internal interviews and get rid of those people. They can release all of the documents that people have requested, the documents and correspondence among employees and superiors that were involved in investigating this report. They can seek information from everybody that was affected. They can, I'm sure they can find very easily the records of letters and traffic.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for May the 28th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Yeah, we're back. Hour number 2 of the Tuesday edition. How could that be? It's tomorrow's Wednesday already of the Steve Malzberg Show. Welcome aboard. We are going to talk to Stephen Moore of the Wall Street Journal in just a little while. And the new report that's out that touts the fact that America and North America and the United States of America will be energy independent very soon. In fact, we'll be exporters of oil and natural gas. Exporters. Of course, the right policies have to be put in place to allow this to happen. But we have so much oil reserves and natural gas reserves that we don't need Arab oil anymore. But, of course, again, as I said, and we'll talk about this with Steve, the right policies have to be in place to allow us to utilize that natural resource, those natural resources. Also, we will talk with John Funn, Newsmax contributor. He'll be here to talk about what the IRS scrutiny and harassment of conservative groups really means and how it is the real voter suppression that's been going on, not the alleged voter suppression by having people show photo IDs and identification when voting, but the IRS and their harassment, how that has resulted in voter suppression. That's according to John Funn. We'll talk about all of that. Something struck me over the weekend. A lot of things struck me over the weekend. I don't mean physically. I mean, mentally. And Billy Joel. Billy Joel, who doesn't like Billy Joel? I have trouble these days reconciling the politics of these people, and their music. I used to like Elvis Costello a lot, and then one day he drop-kicked a doll of George Bush. I think he was on the Conan O'Brien show or one of the shows, and that was the end of Elvis Costello and me. Bruce Springsteen, don't even ask. Not even his national politics, but when the Amadou Diallo case happened here, as was alluded to in the previous hour, when the Amadou Diallo case happened here with New York City police, and they were on trial, Bruce Springsteen wrote a song which indicted the cops, which had them, tried and convicted in his mind. 48 shots, 49, 47 shots, whatever the heck it was called. And he was performing at Madison Square Garden, a concert tour. And the New York City Patrolmen's Benevolent Association reached out to him. All they wanted was to get a message to him, to explain the cop side of the story and ask him not to sing the song at the concert because, you know, this trial hadn't taken place yet. And by the way, the cops were acquitted. Okay? No one would even respond to the PBA of New York City. Now, I know he's done a lot for police, but he could have done something for those police right then and there, and he didn't. So I had great seats, floor seats for that concert that night. I was at WABC Radio at the time. I auctioned off the floor seats. I wasn't going to go. I auctioned off the floor seats and gave the contribution to the PBA Widows and Orphans Fund because I didn't want any part of Springsteen at that point. Anyway, so Billy Joel, another one. Billy Joel, you know, he's had his share of car crashes and depression and reported bouts with alcohol. But he says his depression was caused by 9/11. 9/11 caused his depression. He told us, he gave an interview and he was talking about this, and it just knocked. He says, I was kind of in a mental fog, and it had nothing to do with booze. My mind wasn't right. I wasn't focused. I went into deep, deep depression after 9/11. 9/11 just knocked the wind out of me, and I don't even know if I've recovered from it. It really, really hurt that man could do that to man. And then there was the breakup with somebody, and it took me a while to get back on my feet again. Okay. According to Billy, he drank so much vodka that the smell of it makes him sick now. However, he hasn't completely quit drinking. He just exercises self-control and has a glass of wine with a meal occasionally. Okay. So he was so depressed after 9/11 that a few years later, he wrote, in my view, a viciously anti-American song against the war in Iraq. He called it Christmas in Fallujah. And he, in my view, didn't have the guts to sing this song himself. Didn't have the guts. So he gave it to some unknown kid. How old was he at the time? 21. Guy named Cass Dillon. How do I remember this? I hold in my hand the page 6 article from page 6 of the New York Post the day after I interviewed Cass Dillon and made the same accusation. I called Billy Joel a coward for writing this anti-war, anti-American song and giving it to him, Cass Dillon, to sing. Not even have the guts to sing it himself. And I want you to hear the words. And then it just struck me that he was so depressed for so many years after 9/11. We're supposed to believe that, right? 9/11 is what did it to him. Yet he found it within him to not be depressed enough not to trash the United States of America as they fought in Iraq. And what really gets me are some of the lyrics. I'll let you hear the song, some of it, but here are some of the lyrics, and this is what gets me, and I'll just read them to you. It's evening in the desert. I'm tired and I'm cold, but I'm just a soldier. I do what I'm told. We came with the Crusaders. Now, what does that mean? To save the Holy Land. It's Christmas in Fallujah, and no one gives a damn. I just got your letter, and this is what I read. Excuse me. That's the end of that. I just got your letter, and this is what I read. You said I'm fading from your memory, so I'm just as good as dead, meaning Americans. Americans are fading from the memory of the public, the American public, and they're just as good as dead, which is such trash. And here's the best part. It's Christmas in Fallujah, and we ain't never coming home. We came to bring these people freedom. We came to fight the infidel. There is no justice in the desert because there is no God in hell. And then he talks about the oil, and I got to find the oil. They say Osama's in the mountains, deep in a cave near Pakistan, but there's a sea of blood in Baghdad, a sea of oil in the sand. See, in other words, we're there for the oil. We're not going after Osama. We're there for the oil. No one gives a damn about us anymore. These are the troops speaking through Billy Joel. We came with the Crusaders. We're forgotten about. And this is in 2007. So I just found it a repulsive song, and I found Billy Joel to be a coward. And now with this explanation that he was so depressed, yet he wasn't too depressed so that he couldn't write this anti-American song. Let's give a listen to the man, the coward, in my view, chose to have sing this song, Cass Dillon, 21. And here's what it sounds like.
It's evening in the desert. I'm tired and I'm cold, but I am just a soldier. I do what I am told. We came with the Crusaders to save the Holy Land. It's Christmas in Fallujah, and no one gives a damn. And I just got your letter, and this is what I read. You said, I'm fading from your memory, so I'm just as good as dead. We are the armies of the empire. We are the legionnaires of Rome. It's Christmas in Fallujah, and we ain't never coming home.
All right, so there you have it. There you have it, Christmas in Fallujah by Billy Joel. Cass Dillon. Now, I'm told by a good buddy of mine. Let's see what it says here before I... according to Wikipedia, this kid Dillon either dated or dates Billy Joel's daughter. That's what my good friend said according to Wikipedia. That's what it says. So take it for what it's worth. You know, I don't know if he still does or he did at the time in 2007, but that apparently, according to Wikipedia, is the connection. So anyway, I just found the whole thing so distasteful, and I just thought it was a riot that he blamed everything on depression over 9/11, and he may not even be recovered yet. He's so depressed. So watch out there. Steve Malzberg, we're coming back with our good friend, Stephen Moore. John Fun will join us later on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, You need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Malzberg with you, and we welcome in yet another Steve, and that is Stephen Moore of the Wall Street Journal. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. Great to be with you.
Great to have you on. Appreciate it. Long time no speak. I woke up Sunday morning, which might speak to how late I was sleeping. I don't know. And I saw you do maybe it was yesterday, and it was probably yesterday. And I saw you do a hit on Fox about a great story, which I think the public needs to be aware of, and I just hope that it's allowed to happen. A new study indicating that this country and North America will be energy independent and be able to become exporters of oil and natural gas instead of importers.
Yeah, it really is an amazing pro-America story, and it's happening all over the country. There's an energy revolution going on in this country, and it's in oil and gas. And by the way, this comes just a few years after President Obama said we were running out of this stuff, but we are not running out of oil and gas. We've got huge new finds all over the country. North Dakota has almost as much oil as Saudi Arabia has. Texas has doubled its oil production, Steve. And, of course, you got the Marcellus Shale and the states like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio that is producing so much natural gas. We have 100 years worth of that. We have 600 years worth of coal. We could be an energy exporting country, and wouldn't that be amazing for our balance of trade situation, for jobs? By the way, the average paying job in the oil and gas industry in Texas pays $100,000 a year.
And in Texas, that goes a long, long way.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, Texas is now producing as much oil as the other next four largest oil-producing states combined. So it's a huge contributor, and every time they drill there, they're finding more. And the new technologies allow them to, go into the old wells and get at oil and gas that they weren't, able to with old technology.
Now, what does this mean for the geopolitics and the markets and more importantly, well, first answer that, and then I'm going to ask you if you mentioned Barack Obama. I'm going to ask you if we're going to be allowed under his administration and EPA to actually make this happen. But let's assume it is happening. It will happen. It continues to happen. And what does this mean? I mean, what kind of land, what kind of shift in the landscape does this bring about?
Well, the irony of Barack Obama's presidency is that he's the greenest president we've ever had, who hates fossil fuels, and he will, in 8 years in office, have resided over the greatest oil and gas boom in American history. So there's a lot of irony to that. And, of course, it's not happening because of Barack Obama. It's happening in spite of Barack Obama and his Interior Department and his EPA, which are trying to, foil this revolution. And the amazing thing is that, people are getting so rich off of it. It's very good for the country. It's good for our manufacturing sector. It's good for our transportation sector. It's good for our high technology sector. We have virtually the lowest power in the world right now. That's a big competitive advantage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What about Keystone? I mean, how does Keystone play into this? And isn't it true that we're going to need many, many more Keystones to transport this oil, from one part of the country to another? And I think you were talking about if we're exporting from the East Coast, we're going to need to bring it over to be exported off the East Coast from the West Coast.
Yeah, that's true. And the truth is, the one kind of infrastructure we need in this country so badly is pipelines. It's better than we do transport a lot of it on by truck and by rail, but it's much more efficient to transport this stuff by pipeline. And yeah, as you pointed out, the environmentalists are against this. They don't want the pipeline built, which is craziness. It's much safer to transport this stuff by pipeline than on a truck or a boat or a rail.
All right. So given the fact, the irony of Obama with the greenest president ever and presiding over this boom, nonetheless, you did mention the restrictive policies of the EPA and his administration. So I mean, how much will that hinder us being where we have the potential to be in the time we could get there? In other words, will this prolong it immensely? And if we have another, God forbid, Hillary administration with the same kind of EPA, could this thwart all this progress?
Great question, and no one knows the answer. They haven't been able to thwart it so far. I mean, they've tried to, right? By not building pipelines, by not allowing leases on public lands, by the EPA, imposing new clean air and clean water regulations that make it harder to do the drilling that we need to be doing. But even with all of those impediments, the industry is still going great guns. And so I'm not so sure the government can hold this back, although it certainly is trying to do so. And it makes no sense, by the way. These are good jobs. They reduce America's balance of trade deficit. They make our industries more competitive, and they provide cheap fuel for Americans when they drive their car or when they heat their home. I mean, what's not to like about this?
Yeah, well, I know that's common sense, but we're dealing with the radical left. You never know. One more is for Steve Moore of the Wall Street Journal. Consumer confidence at a 5-year high or just about, and home sales up 11%. Home values up 11% year to year from March to March, and the market, of course, took off to over 200 points. I think it closed up at just about 100 or so. So good news for the economy, right?
Yeah, the economy's picking up, no doubt about it. And one of the reasons it is picking up is I think people are just businessmen and businessmen and businesswomen and consumers and industries. They're just not as afraid of Barack Obama as they used to be. I mean, remember the first term was all Obamacare and stimulus and debt and union card check issues and global, the cap and trade for, the tax that would have been on industry. And right now he's so on the defensive, he can't really do that much to harm the economy. And I think that's one reason it's really starting to show some firepower here. And it's great. I mean, American companies are lean, mean fighting machines right now. I think this bull market's going to continue.
Right. Now we just got to get more people back to work in jobs that they could live on. All right, Stephen, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll speak to you real soon.
Yep.
All right, take care. Stephen Moore, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. When we come back, John Fund will join us to talk about what he calls the real voter suppression, and that's the scrutiny by the IRS against the conservative groups. We'll talk about that. Don't touch that dial on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the scandals A, B, and C, put the IRS scandal wherever you want to put it. And when it comes to the IRS harassing Tea Party groups, conservative groups, pro-Israel groups, all these groups, we've heard people on this show talk about the fact that, they had a lot of members who didn't want to deal with it anymore. They thought about giving up their fight to form their organization, etc. And joining us now is our friend John Fund, Newsmax contributor, who's here to talk about the fact that this is real intimidation and real voter suppression when it comes to the IRS harassing these people. John, welcome back.
Thanks, Steve. Last year, everybody on the left side of the spectrum was complaining about voter suppression. They said these
voter ID laws, yeah,
for voter ID, clearing up absentee ballots, getting, the dead and the, the ineligible off the rolls were really just the return of Jim Crow, a poll tax. Well, it turns out, of course, that there were no real evidence surfacing of that. In fact, African-American voter turnout was higher than white turnout for the first time in American history.
Yeah.
So, no voter suppression there. But in Washington, the IRS was engaging in their form of voter suppression because the Tea Party was a massive political force. It swept the 2010 elections, and suddenly its momentum stopped. Now, I think some of that was because it was no longer the new kid on the block, but some of it was a lot of Tea Party organizations were applying for nonprofit status. Now, that nonprofit status allowed them to do some political and educational work, up to 50%, and so they were applying. That meant they could get donors. But the donors weren't going to contribute if they didn't get a tax deduction and if they didn't have a good housekeeping seal of approval. I mean, who are you? You know, the government doesn't even recognize you.
Right.
The government doesn't. Why is your paperwork tied up? Something wrong with you?
Why do you need a stamp when I mail the contribution? Why not? Is it no postage necessary?
A lot of groups never got off the ground. Yeah. A lot of groups never started projects they were planning. One of them is True the Vote, which was a group that was combating voter fraud.
Right.
They've been waiting 3 years for their status. So a lot of things True the Vote and other groups were planning to do weren't done. I call that voter suppression because it's suppressing political and educational activity. And it was so petty. I know one group that was just trying to educate people on the Constitution. They applied for status 2.5 years ago. You know when the first time they ever heard from the IRS was?
2.5 years later. No.
Last Monday.
Wow.
A week ago.
Wow.
Suddenly
Nothing,
not
even a request for anything?
No.
No denial?
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Boy.
So they weren't. Some people were buried with paperwork requests.
Yeah.
Some people were just ignored. But if you're ignored, you don't get your status.
Right. That's almost worse. It is incredible, and that's one aspect of this that has really gone unnoticed. And bravo to you for bringing that up because it's so very true. But it just you think more of these groups and these leaders of these groups that persevered and stuck with it and did not give up and did not go away.
Well, thankfully, a lot of them did stay in the game, but a lot more could have gotten into the game.
True.
And now we have a situation where they still haven't gotten into the game. And who knows? I mean, now the IRS is so gummed up. You know, it's running around like a fire drill that doesn't seem to ever end.
Yeah.
And who knows if these groups are ever going to get their status? Maybe they'll just freeze everything in place. But you know, left-wing groups got their status right away, no problem. And in fact, one group was very clever. They changed their name to something that sounded progressive. And they filed under a different category. They filed under a different name.
And they went unnoticed.
New application. They got their thing within a few months.
That is amazing. You're not a lawyer, obviously, but I wonder if everybody did that.
No, but I play one on TV.
Right, I'm very But if you did that, and then once you have your status, as long as you keep everything else the same, could you change your name, or would you have to then get a?
No, you have to get a new application. I think.
So that doesn't work. Okay, we're talking to John Fund, the Newsmax contributor here on the Steve Malzberg Show. So when I introduced you and we got into this, I said A, B, or C, 1, 2, or 3. Pick your scandal. How would you rate the 3? The IRS scandal, the Justice Department with the subpoenas for the media, and Benghazi?
Well, we don't know because we have incomplete information. Let me ask you some hypothetical questions.
Oh, good. You can interview me?
On the reporters' subpoenas.
Yes.
Does anyone believe that the Associated Press and Fox News were the only ones?
Oh, no. Holder told National Public Radio the day before he testified, eventually the next day, and we played this, he was asked, and he said, well, I don't know how many I've signed off on. Some I've rejected. So then and there we knew.
Obviously, his AutoPed was doing it for him.
Well, here's the thing.
The AutoPed and the teleprompter are obviously the two most important things in this administration.
Well, the House Judiciary Committee is investigating whether Eric Holder lied under oath on May 15th when he made a statement that talked about the fact of the Espionage Act of 1917. He said, in regard to potential prosecution of the press for the disclosure of material, this is not something I've ever been involved in, heard of, or would think would be wise policy. But NBC News reported, and it's been confirmed by the Justice Department, that Holder, his claim that he had not done any of that, is not true because he signed off on James Rosen's subpoena.
So that one's going to grow. Second question.
Bunch of racists in that committee, by the way, for daring to question him.
Regarding Benghazi, more whistleblowers are going to come forward.
That's what
And they have interesting things to say. And you know what? They especially have interesting things to say about how they've been shut up the last 6 months and denied their free speech rights.
And I believe it's not good for Hillary or Obama either.
And the third question is, Max Baucus chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, a Democrat, says there's a lot more that's going to come out of the IRS scandal.
Yes.
Now, he's a Democrat. I believe him. Do you think Max Baucus is right? I do.
I think Max Baucus, the outgoing Max Baucus, Senator
Who
Baucus,
suddenly has become unburdened.
Yes, he's found new life and new guts,
new oversight.
New oversight. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about just right now about. I mean, you're a journalist. You wrote many years for the Wall Street Journal and other publications. Now you're here with Newsmax. You have fears that maybe, or any indication that maybe stick with the fears that you could have been a target for some reason, or that you might be targeted down the road by this administration?
During the Clinton years, I certainly was targeted, as, by the way, other people associated with Newsmax have been. Right. Who would know? It may take us several years to find out, but I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and when you hear about James Rosen not only being targeted the way that the AP was targeted, but being named actually, and now it turns out they shopped around, according to reports. They shopped around to 3 judges. They got the third one to okay the subpoena and put James Rosen on as a co-conspirator.
There's an old saying: you can get a
ham sandwich.
No, a grand jury can indict a ham sandwich. Well, if you don't like one judge, you look for another. You don't like that judge, you look for another. That's how they're operating.
But this is, I mean, I've had Alberto Gonzalez on this show. I had Attorney General Mukasey on this show, Donald Rumsfeld on this show. I had one liberal guest who said, well, you got to blame the Patriot Act because it allowed for these things to happen. And I said, but it didn't happen under Bush and all the years that the Patriot Act was in effect. It's only happening under this administration.
I do agree with him this much. I think the Patriot Act should be sunsetted. I think we do need to reevaluate it every few years. I don't think it should be a permanent fixture of American life unless we can have clear, compelling evidence that it should be renewed. On that part, I agree.
Okay,
but you don't. Not every administration misuses it.
Right.
This administration may well have.
Yeah, no, it certainly looks that way. Okay, well, going forward, I'm looking forward to the Benghazi people. Darrell Issa has just subpoenaed the State Department records on all the emails on the talking points. Remember that Friday document dump? The same day he announced he was firing the interim head of the IRS.
I call them the fibbing points, by the way.
The fibbing points.
Let's just
they released 100 of them. By the way, and the woman who was in charge of communications for the State Department has just gotten, or is apparently going to get a promotion to assistant secretary of state.
Do you detect a pattern here? The woman in charge of exempt organizations of the IRS is now in charge of Obamacare at the IRS, much bigger office. Woman at the State Department is being promoted. It seems
Rice is going to get a promotion.
Rice is getting a promotion. It seems this is called failing upward. This is the Peter principle at work in the Obama administration. You mess up, you get into a scandal, you get promoted.
No, it is something. I just, the media, which was outraged on all of these for a time, especially the media, the Justice Department.
There's still time for new outrage to surface.
I hope, because we really
Bob
can't let this
Schieffer's
go.
on CBS
Bob
is on fire.
Schieffer,
He's on fire.
He said to Pfeiffer last week, he said, with all due respect, what are you doing here? Where's the chief of staff? And this week, he said, wouldn't it be better for someone other than the Attorney General to investigate the Attorney General?
Historical memory is important. He was around during Watergate, and you know what? He can see a stone wall when a stone wall appears in front of him.
I hope so. All right, John Fund, always great to talk to you. We'll read you at Newsmax. And, folks, we're continuing right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Coming up in the next hour, we'll be joined by General Paul E. Vallely. Of course, he is chairman of Stand Up America. He will join us to talk about John McCain's little trip, little vacay, little excursion. Whoa, my pen just went right overboard. You caught that live, didn't you? Yeah, you had a pull-out shot. My pen went zoom. Anyway, I don't need it. I could write in blood. Anyway, John McCain went to Syria yesterday to meet with the rebels. And now there's talk that Obama is asking his military for plans for a no-fly zone. I'm telling you, we should stay the heck out of Syria, stay away from Syria, and only go near Syria if the chemical weapon. Well, look, we're not even going to do that. It's too late for that. They've been moved. They've been used. The red line has been crossed over and over again. That's not happening. So, let Israel handle that, and let Israel handle the rocket shipments from Russia to Syria. They'll probably bomb them before Syria could get their hands on it. I mean, we have no business being in Syria. None. No fly away. And supporting Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood and terrorists. For what? For what? So they could turn on us and turn on Israel once they overthrow Assad? Not good. Not good at all. So anyway, we'll talk to Paul Vallely. He's been to Syria many times. He may disagree with me, but we'll talk to him. And Lori Lowenthal Marcus, she is a columnist for the Jewish Press, and she has a great story to tell, not only about Z Street, which was one of those conservative Jewish groups that were hassled by the IRS, but also there's a story about an event in New Jersey and Congressman Bill Pascrell. And you're going to want to hear that. She wrote a piece about it in the Jewish Press, so don't miss it in the next hour. Now, our friend Noel Shepard at newsbusters.org wrote a piece yesterday about, well, he reproduced a couple of tweets. This is another reason why I don't have HBO. I will not pay Bill Maher's salary. I do not have HBO. There was a series, a military mini-series that had, I think, Tom Hanks in it or something, which was, to me, totally anti-American. I just got rid of my HBO. I don't have it. I will never have it unless it completely changes. So apparently there's a show on it called Girls. Anybody know about that show, Girls? Oh, okay. We got a nod from Bethany. Well, the star of the show, one of the stars, Lena Dunham. Okay. She chose to tweet on Memorial Day, "Happy Memorial Day. I've already peed in 2 different Starbucks bathrooms." Okay. Now, you take that for what it's worth. Either she's a complete ditz and she has nothing better to say on Memorial Day except tell us where she went to the bathroom, or she's purposely telling us where she went to the bathroom in honor of Memorial Day, if you know what I mean. This charming lady, as Noel writes, appears to have a fascination with her bodily functions. Here's what she tweeted last Saturday, 2 days before Memorial Day. "It is my sincerest hope that the act of dying feels like finally peeing after a long, bumpy car ride." Yeah, I'm telling you. Now, this comes after Time magazine declared that Dunham has one of, quote, the 140 best Twitter feeds. I didn't know there was such a list. I'm not on it, and I'm glad I'm not on it. I wouldn't want any of that stuff leaking onto my Twitter feed, if you know what I mean. So if you're fascinated by urine and trashing of national holidays and disrespect for the fallen heroes of our military, then you get HBO, you support the salary of Lena Dunham, and you support the salary of Bill Maher, and you have a ball, y'all, because I want no part of it, and I have no part of it. Happy Memorial Day. I've just peed in 2 different Starbucks. Good. Well, I guess the positive is she didn't tell us she just peed on the graves of 2 soldiers, right? I mean, I guess we should be thankful for small miracles. Speaking of small miracles, ba-dum-bum. You don't even know what I'm going to say, but you'll give me a ba-dum-bum when you hear what I'm going to say. It's Anthony Weiner time. Small miracles. Ba-dum-bum. See, I told you. There was a small miracle waiting out there for you, or ba-dum-bum. Anyway, Anthony Weiner, the media is all excited. There's some poll among the Democratic Democratic candidates for the nomination for mayor in New York City, and he's got like 20%, 25%. He's second behind Christine Quinn, the city council speaker. She's falling. He's gaining. So the media is, hey, where you? This guy's going to get elected after all. Not only are the Clintons staying away from Weiner, little Anthony Weiner. The Clintons want no part of him. But see, you don't even mean to say it. It just, I can't say it comes out that way. But there's another one. You see, everything you say is a Weiner joke, right? You don't mean to say it. It just comes out that way. Anyway, okay. So they're staying away from Anthony Weiner. The Clintons are. They want no part of this, even though Uma has been Hillary's right-hand person for the last decade. Stay away from Anthony Weiner. Chuck Schumer groomed. I don't mean he combed his hair. I mean he groomed Anthony Weiner to take his place on the in the House when Schumer moved up to be a congressman, to be a senator. He groomed him to take his seat in the Assembly when he moved out. In other words, every time Schumer moved up, he groomed Weiner for that seat to follow him. So he's his protege, as you might expect. So when asked by Bob Schieffer yesterday in Cut 11, what's up with who are you supporting in the mayor's race in New York? Coward Schumer stayed away from the Weiner with this remark.
Senator Schumer, before I let you go, I want to ask you about this New York mayor's race. Anthony Weiner, who left the Congress in disgrace after he published some rather suggestive pictures of himself, has announced that he is now running for mayor of New York City. Are you going to support him?
I'm not commenting on the mayor's race or on Anthony Weiner's race at this point, no.
Do you think he ought not to run?
I'm not commenting, Bob.
All right. Well, I guess that's that.
Might I say, what an idiot. What do you mean you're not commenting? What does that mean? I'm not commenting? What is this, a case of national security? Where you just made it more important than it is, Senator. I'm not going to. If you're watching at Newsmax TV, you saw the smile, if you want to call it that. If you're listening on XM, America's Talk Channel 244, let me just tell you, close your eyes 3/4 of the way and put on the biggest, phony, widest, mouth-closed smile you can. That's what Schumer looked like when the question was being asked. Now, what do you mean I'm not commenting? Are you supporting him or the mayor? I'm not commenting on the mayor. She tries again. I'm not commenting. What do you mean you're not commenting? No, I'm not supporting him. I haven't made up my mind. I haven't thought about it. But to say twice, especially the second one when pressed, I'm not commenting. It's like you were just asked, I don't know. Is someone going to be indicted in the IRS scandal? You're on the committee. What do you know? I can't comment, Bob. Sorry. It's you. It's your opinion. See, we're not asking the senator, what do you know about something? We're not asking about where. Bob Schieffer didn't ask the senator, what did somebody tell you about something? Or what do you foresee happening to our national security? What's going to happen overseas? What do you know because you're a member of this committee? No, or what are your future plans? No, he asked, are you going to support this creep, Anthony Weiner, who you've treated like a son? Are you going to support him? No comment. I'm not commenting. What does that mean? Just say yes or no, or I don't know, but not commenting. Makes it sound like the question has such gravitas. The issue is so important that you haven't given it enough thought. You have to wait and see, because this is so huge that you just can't weigh in on it, like an issue of national security, or divulging a source, or weighing in on a move the president made. It's Anthony Weiner. Can we see it again? Can we do Cut 11 again? Here it is. Just watch it again. Listen again.
Senator Schumer, before I let you go, I want to ask you about this New York mayor's race. Anthony Weiner, who left the Congress in disgrace after he published some rather suggestive pictures of himself, has announced that he is now running for mayor of New York City. Are you going to support him?
I'm not commenting on the mayor's race or on Anthony Weiner's race at this point, no.
Do you think he ought not to run?
I'm not commenting, Bob.
All right. Well, I guess that's that.
Yeah, I guess that's that. By the way, he didn't publish pictures of himself. He sent them to women. They were, and then he denied it and lied about it and concocted this whole lying scheme, okay? And there's more pictures out there, possibly according to him. So, but I'm not commenting, Bob. Oh, no, not on that. Ask me about anything, but not that. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. There is increased pressure on Syrian President Assad today. The European Union has lifted a ban on arms shipments to rebels, and Senator John McCain has just wrapped up a secret meeting with anti-Assad forces. McCain's trip comes as the United States is trying to negotiate a diplomatic resolution to the two-year-long civil war there. McCain has said he believes the United States has abandoned the rebel fighters, and he reportedly wanted to show them that the American people have their back.
Unless Bashar Assad is convinced that the battlefield situation will not be in his favor. In other words, if he believes he can survive, I do not believe that he will seriously negotiate.
Meanwhile, the Obama administration is looking for a diplomatic end to the war. It sent Secretary of State John Kerry to Paris to meet with the Russian foreign minister to try and achieve those ends. But McCain says he first wants the United States to implement a no-fly zone over Syria, which would dramatically change the situation on the ground. Also, President Obama and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie meet again on the Jersey Shore today. They checked in on the rebuilding effort there 7 months after Superstorm Sandy ripped apart parts of the eastern seaboard. New Jersey will receive $25 billion in aid, and rebuilding efforts there have already helped the shore's economy bounce back somewhat. Today's trip might help some people forget briefly about the White House scandals, and Christie, who is running for re-election in New Jersey in 2014, might regret this trip, some say. If he does plan to run for the White House in 2016, some say these photo ops will come back to haunt him. And more trouble for cruise passengers. This time it's aboard a Royal Caribbean ship. A fire burned for about 2 hours aboard the Grandeur of the Seas while it was off the coast of Florida on its way to the Bahamas from Baltimore. The ship did not lose power and was able to dock safely in the Bahamas Monday afternoon. All 2,224 guests, along with a crew of 800, were accounted for and are all okay. Coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, new video from storm chasers see what it looks like inside a devastating storm similar to the one that hit Oklahoma. And a Newsmax exclusive with RNC Chairman Reince Priebus on the White House scandals. Next.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Welcome back. As thousands of people work to recover from last week's devastating tornado in Oklahoma, we have some new video to show you that shows you just how intense it can be inside one of those storms. 2 storm chasers captured this insane footage of a tornado with wind speeds as high as 175 miles per hour. This is in Kansas, and while they were recording this footage, one of the chase vehicle's doors blew off. The truck, though, managed to stay on the ground. The 2 storm chasers inside were also okay. This might be used for a movie someday. And during a Newsmax exclusive, Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican National Committee, says recent steps taken by the White House to dull the impact of recent scandals don't do nearly enough.
They should get rid of everybody that was involved in this. I mean, they can quickly figure out who those people are, and they can conduct internal interviews and get rid of those people. They can release all of the documents that people have requested, the documents and correspondence among employees and superiors that were involved in investigating this report. They can seek information from everybody that was affected. They can, I'm sure they can find very easily the records of letters and traffic.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for May the 28th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show. So Barack Obama was down at the Jersey Shore today, along with Governor Chris Christie. I know they did all kinds of things on the boardwalk. They played, I forget what it's called. There's a name to this game. It's where you throw a football through the tire, you know, through the hole in the tire. Well, Christie got it in. Well, first Obama went, had 5 chances, and didn't get it in any of the 5 chances. Christie got it in his first shot. So that was the end of that. Christie won a bear. He gave it to Obama. Look, Christie's free to hang around with Obama and play with Obama and praise Obama, hug Obama, kiss Obama as much as he wants. I couldn't care less. This is not going to endear him to conservatives. This is not going to endear him to people who are going to vote in Republican primaries. I don't know what he's trying to do. Maybe he'll run for president as an independent. I don't know. And I don't really care. I got to tell you the truth. I really don't care. He's a slimmed down Chris Christie. I hope he loses all the weight he needs or wants to lose because it's for his health and his family. I don't think he's doing it to become president. So God bless him for that. But the introduction was so cheesy. I mean, when after they did their boardwalk games and stuff, they had like a press conference so all the people could see on the boardwalk and the beach. And Christie was up there talking about everything and how much the president helped and this, but there's still more to do. And then he says, and ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the President of the United States. And they play Hail to the Chief. You think the president was standing up there next to him or sitting down on the stage next to him? No. The president was behind the closed door and comes running out, strutting out to Hail to the Chief. It was so ridiculous. They made this into a majestic appearance, you know, and, hey, Christie played along with it. And that's what Christie wanted, I guess. For some reason, Christie feels the need to embrace Barack Obama. A man if he's a conservative, would disagree with on just about every single major and most minor issues imaginable. But see, the trick is, and the joke is, that Christie is not a conservative. In fact, the most conservative and shocking thing I've heard Chris Christie say in about 3 years was said to Matt Lauer when Matt Lauer asked him. Now, Christie has signed on to climate change in the past, or global warming, okay? But Matt Lauer asked him about, Sandy and about rebuilding and about Sandy a direct result of climate change and whatever. And even though he didn't say, Matt, we've had worse hurricanes in the 1800s, Matt. Okay, we've had hurricanes in the 1920s, Matt. Sandy didn't even register in terms of strength of hurricane. It wasn't even a hurricane when it made landfall, Matt. That's the answer a conservative would give. But Christie did better because I thought he would I thought he would pull an Andrew Cuomo, and immediately blame global warming for the hurricane. But he didn't. Here's what he said last week, I believe. Cut 1.
Earlier this week, you said you don't think there's been any proof thus far that Sandy was caused by climate change. Several experts I've heard from say the destruction, though, from Sandy was probably more severe because of elements of climate change, including rising sea levels. Are you not willing to say that's true?
No, I'm not, because what did they say? First of all, this is their business. They study it, and they say probably, maybe. All I said was I haven't been shown any definitive proof yet that that's what caused it. And this is just, listen, this is distraction. I've got a place to rebuild here, and people want to talk to me about esoteric theories. We got plenty of time to do that later on and study that and let me be more informed about it. But no, I'm not going to buy things, out of whole cloth about it. I'm just not going to, especially when they won't definitively say anything and it's their business.
That's not a bad answer. Let me give a bravo to Governor Christie on that one. Really. I mean, again, I was expecting him to pull a Cuomo and say, oh, of course, Matt. Got problems here. Anybody who doesn't believe in this is blind. Which I've heard him. I've heard him say similar things before. That you can't deny the climate's changing, this and that, blah blah blah. So anyway, and then Michelle Obama, and to me this was disgusting, and not irresponsible because nothing's going to happen as a result of it, but ill-advised, and really disgusting. Not nice. Okay, to say this about Chris Christie. Let's listen. She was on the Today Show a few days ago, and this is cut 6.
Well, I think that's a very personal matter. It's something between the governor and his family, and I try not to comment on people's personal choices. I think Governor Christie is terrific, and his family is wonderful, and I, wish them the best. The one thing that I will say is that there are millions of people like the governor who struggle with adulthood obesity. And that's one of the reasons why I think Let's Move is so important, because, we want to start working with kids when they're young so that they don't have these challenges when they get older.
All right. This woman doesn't know what Chris Christie's problem is. This woman can't say it's inactivity. Chris Christie loves sports. I know he loves sports. He's loved sports his whole life. Does she know that as a kid he didn't do anything? Does she know that as a kid he sat around and ate, sugar drinks? We don't know what Chris Christie's problem is. We know that it's it could be hormonal. It could be who the heck knows? I don't know. How does she know? So this is why we have to have Let's Move, implying that kids without Let's Move will wind up like Chris Christie or anyone severely overweight. That's not always the case. I got to tell you, it's genetics. A lot of it is genetics. And some of it is medical. I know kids, unfortunately, 2 kids who have juvenile diabetes. They're not inactive. They didn't sit around in their young days. They just got it. But to say looking at Chris Christie is why we have to have Let's Move, that's not right. I'm sorry. I know she didn't mean anything by it, but that's pretty dumb for the First Lady to say. Wouldn't you agree? I just don't buy that at all. That she would go there on that one. Coming up this hour, we mentioned General Vallely will be with us, and we'll speak also about Syria and John McCain's trip to Syria. And then Lori Lowenthal Marcus, president and co-founder of Z Street, a conservative Jewish organization that was looking for tax-exempt status and got harassed by the IRS. But also, more importantly, she's on to talk about a column she wrote at the Jewish Press where it's going to be very interesting. You're going to want to hear this about it involves an event that took place in New Jersey, and it involves who was there, and it involves Congressman Pascrell of New Jersey. So, interesting story about Congressman Pascrell. You want to know how much Barack Obama has no use for Israel? I'll tell you how much he has no use for Israel. They redistricted in New Jersey before the last election, okay? Before the last presidential election, which affected the Congress. So my district got redistricted. They took away Congressman Steve Rothman was my congressman. All right, they got rid of that seat, and they expanded the district of Congressman Scott Garrett, my buddy, to become my congressman. So they made his district bigger. So that left Rothman without a seat. So he ran against Bill Pascrell, another Democrat, in the primary for Pascrell's seat. Okay? Steve Rothman, back in 2000, what am I talking about? Back in 2008, was the first number one member of Congress from New Jersey, and one of the first members of Congress, period, but especially in New Jersey, from the congressional delegation to come out in favor of Barack Obama over Hillary Clinton. He supported Obama. He supported Obama's moves in Israel. Everything he did when he became president, he was his number one supporter. So when it was the supporter of Israel, Steve Rothman, against Bill Pascrell, who has very, in my mind, questionable support for Israel, and in my mind is very pro-Palestinian, Barack Obama threw Steve Rothman under the bus big time. Big time. Didn't campaign for him, didn't support him, nothing. That spoke volumes to me. We're coming back. General Paul Vallely, Syria, on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of Lignet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard Lignet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is Lignet? Lignet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network. a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also join our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It was yesterday that we found out that John McCain was not around, if you were looking for him in Washington or Arizona or anywhere except Syria, because he went there, spent an hour in the country, snuck in and met with the rebels and left. And now we have all kinds of word that there's a story in the Daily Beast that the president is asking the Pentagon for a Syria no-fly zone plan. Joining us now to talk about this is the man who knows Syria better than anybody I know, General Paul E. Vallely, U.S. Army retired, of course, chairman of Stand Up America. Hello, sir.
Hello, Steve.
How are you?
Well, I'm fine, thank you. After a fun Memorial Day, and I hope you enjoyed it back there. And
yes, the weather actually turned out on Monday to be wonderful for that wonderful day. All right, when you heard that John McCain had gone to Syria and met with the rebels, what did you think?
Well, I got the pictures in from our liaison group over there, and one of our young women who is part of the Syrian opposition liaison group, which we manage, she was there and visiting at the same time. But the people there weren't the people that he should be meeting with in toto. There were the commanders of the Free Syrian Army that I met with, and he's actually meeting with another group who has very little influence over there. And so it's the Free Syrian delegation. So he's not really getting down to the people that I would have liked to have visited, which were the commanders on the ground that are fighting the battle every day. And I could have done that for them, but of course they never ask people that have the experience and the on-the-ground experience that I do and my group does. So they get waylaid, they get deviated or misdirected, I should say, Steve, to people that really aren't the ones that are the force behind this opposition.
So would you call the meeting a waste of time, or better that he met with them than met with no one, or what?
No, I think it was good that he went over and at least trying to meet someone that we can't count on our Secretary of State or the State Department to do. And certainly they haven't called any senior military to go over there and discuss possible support for the Free Syrian Army. We know the players over there. We understand them. We understand what they needed. If you remember back when I sent you a report that I had prepared after our visit last July, when I had made the same recommendations that we don't have troops on the ground, boots on the ground, but we do provide them with medical equipment, certain amounts of ammunition, and RPGs or shoulder-fired missiles that they can take down the Assad aircraft that have been bombing and maiming the people of Syria. So here it is, 10 months later, and he's going over determining the same thing. It seems we're always too late coming after the fact on many of these international issues.
Okay.
And leading from behind a little bit.
What do you think? Do you think that this is a serious event, that the president, first of all, even if he is asking for a no-fly zone plan from the Pentagon, even if he got one, do you think he would ever use one? And should we be involved to that extent?
No, I don't think so. You need to have things happen on the ground, Steve. And by arming selected Free Syrian Army forces, not those that are radical or that would be on Al-Qaeda or working with Hezbollah, and they can be closely identified. We've done that already. We did the vetting. So a no-fly zone, that's going to put our forces and airplanes in jeopardy in that regard, and this is strictly a proxy war over there, and we should be handling it that way. So they're all coming up with solutions, have been tried. Most of them have not worked in the past. Even the no-fly zone in northern Iraq, it worked for a little while. But these are all sort of bandages on a very bad wound, and there's other ways to do it.
All right, General, one more for you, and that is Israel is now warning that Russia's plan to send sophisticated anti-aircraft weapons to Syria to Assad was a threat, and said that Israel could take some form of unspecified action. I mean, are they going to allow these surface-to-surface missiles to be delivered and be absorbed by the Assad regime, or are they going to preemptively, strike them in shipment somehow once they're unloaded?
Well, Steve, they're already there to agree. Russia provided them 3 years ago almost $350 million of sophisticated anti-aircraft communications equipment and their first stage missiles over there with the support of Iran. So this is not new. Again, it seems like things happen and then we forget about it, and then all of a sudden we sort of start reporting it in the United States as something that's new. But they already have a capability that has been provided to them by Russia before. Russia is solidly behind the Assad regime. So that's why it's going to be a knife into their heart if we support the right opposition forces, and we can take the major chess player over there in Iran out of the game, so to speak.
Right. All right, General, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, Steve, my pleasure.
Take care. General Paul Vallely, retired U.S. Army Major, and also he is the president, the chairman, I should say, of Stand Up America, and always great to talk to him. Says that John McCain met with the good that he went, but met with the wrong rebel leaders. And if we do give arms to rebels, I mean, the general seems to think that we can give it to the right people, the people who are not supporters of Al-Qaeda and Muslim Brotherhood, etc. He knows more than me, but if we do give these people weapons, I just hope and pray that it is to the right people and that the wrong people, don't get their hands on them. When we come back, we have a very interesting story that you're going to want to hear about, and we will tell you about it. We're going to be joined by the the head of Z Street and a columnist for the Jewish Press, And both of these stories are interesting. Z Street was, of course, harassed. And we'll tell you about the man behind the Palestinian flag at a Paterson, New Jersey City Hall. He's a convicted felon. And we'll talk about Congressman Bill Pascrell, how he fits into this as well. All of that straight ahead right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. Really? They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We're joined right now by someone who was in the news a couple of weeks ago when the IRS scandal broke, revealing that a Jewish group, a pro-Israel Jewish group called Z Street, had been harassed, if you will, by the IRS in the ongoing IRS scandal. She also happens to be and she's the president and co-founder of Z Street. She also happens to be a columnist at the Jewish Press. And there's a story that I want told that I put her on the show for. And we welcome in Lori Lowenthal Marcus. Hello, Lori. How are you?
Hi, Steve. I'm fine, thank you.
Good to talk to you. All right, first let's go to the IRS for a second, if we can. What is the status right now? I mean, of Z Street, and talk about what the group went through when you presented an application and how it progressed.
Okay, we filed for tax-exempt status in December of 2009. We were sent back a number of questions. In particular about our board members, seeking additional information about them. And then in July of 2010, our corporate counsel contacted the IRS agent responsible for our file just to find out how things were progressing and whether they needed additional information. The IRS agent told our lawyer that our case was taking a long time and would be delayed because the IRS has to give special scrutiny to organizations connected to Israel. The agent also told our lawyer that many of those organizations, the files were sent to a special unit in Washington, D.C. to determine if the policies of the organizations and the activities contradicted those of the administration's public policy.
That is the most, to me, amazing statement of all. As if it should matter. As if it should matter what whether it contradicts the administration's policies. What the heck difference does that make? So what happened next?
Well, what happened next is the Z Street board got together to discuss this because a number of us, myself included, are lawyers, and we knew that is simply unconstitutional inquiry on the part of a government. And so we decided, although we knew it would be difficult, that we would bring a lawsuit against the IRS. So we did in August of 2010. The IRS responded several different times in several different ways. The last position that they took was that, of course, they had to look into our organization because we have to do with Israel, and terrorism happens in Israel. And they had to look extra carefully because they thought we might be funding terrorist activity. Now, we don't fund anything. We are purely an educational entity, a tiny little educational pro-Israel group. That's it. The other thing that they did, which is really chilling, is they told us, the IRS told us, that they were going to invoke a newly passed regulation that was completely discretionary, but they were going to invoke it and suspend any activity on our application because we had sued them. So we haven't gotten anywhere. We don't have tax-exempt status. We're completely in legal limbo. We do have our first court hearing on July 2nd in D.C. Federal District Court.
Well, are you pursuing this on your own, or are you part of any group or any class action? Many of the Tea Party groups are involved, or is this your own attorney and your own lawsuit?
No, this is our own lawsuit. Don't forget, we started this back in 2010.
Right.
That's when we first filed, and nobody else was talking about these issues. The Tea Party issues came up later. I don't know who else had what kind of unpleasant experiences, we'll call them, because really everybody is afraid to go up against the IRS. It's a frightening place, and now we know why.
Well, I give you all the credit in the world, and we'll certainly follow that. Keep in touch with us and let us know what that is in July, early July, you said?
July 2nd.
Okay, good. Well, then we'll contact you and find out how it went and what took place. Now let's move on, and we're talking to Lori Lowenthal Marcus, who is also, in addition to president, co-founder of Z Street, also is a columnist at the Jewish Press. You did a story. Something took place in Paterson, New Jersey, which is really outrageous. And to me, Congressman Bill Pascrell has really differentiated himself as very pro-Palestinian and not a friend to Israel in many regards. That's my opinion. And I think when Barack Obama threw Steve Rothman over the bus in the race between the two recently, it spoke volumes to where, even though Rothman was the first person in the state of New Jersey, elected official to support Barack Obama prominently, I think it spoke volumes to where Barack Obama lies on these issues as well. But there was a Palestinian American Day on Sunday, May 19th in Paterson, New Jersey, and the Palestinian flag was raised over City Hall. But you wrote a great piece on this. Tell us about the problem. Besides the obvious, tell us about the problem with the organizer named Qadar Abu Asab.
Well, the other thing is that I had seen accounts of this event. The Palestinian American Day had been named and that there were various public officials present. But there was something odd in the reporting, which was that the Arab American Civic Organization, in one place, Abu Asab was quoted as being the leader of it, and in another place in the report, it said that the president of the organization was opposed to the event and thought it was provocative. So I started looking into this Qadar Abu Asab, and I called all of the different, Pascrell's office and a state assemblyman's office and the mayor of Paterson, New Jersey, all of whom had showed up with proclamations. And none of them knew this Abu Asab. I did, a little bit of research, and I immediately found out that he had been convicted of major credit card fraud and had done time in prison. He's a convicted felon, and this is someone who had easy access to all of these politicians' offices. Nobody looked into him. And the really ironic thing is that Abu Asab had been very vocal when the New York Police Department had their program of surveillance of Muslim organizations to ferret out terrorism. Abu Asab had been very, very critical and said that he told his followers not to cooperate with authorities, and because it was so outrageous that they were looking into Muslims. Well, here he is, a Muslim, and that's fine, except he is a convicted felon, and there's a reason why people should be looking into him.
Well, it's funny because the president, in his speech the other day on terrorism and going forward, talked about how the Muslim community are the first to come forward and cooperate with law enforcement. And I just had Peter King on earlier today and asked him about that, and he's held hearings on this very issue, as you well know, Lori, and he said no, that's unfortunately not the case in too many instances at all.
Well, it certainly is not the case with this particular person who has the nerve to complain about our authorities trying to protect us, and instead of cooperating, he's telling people not to cooperate with authorities and is hiding this major secret. He told me that it wasn't relevant. I shouldn't talk about it. I'm sorry, but it is relevant.
And you had the mayor presenting a city proclamation commemorating the event. Congressman Bill Pascrell was there for the flag raising over City Hall. He presented a letter of special congressional recognition. Now, you go on in this piece. You made a call to the mayor's office. You wanted the wording of the proclamation. You wanted to know who it was written to. I mean, you got the runaround first class.
Yes, I did, although I have to say, I think at this point they probably have begun to look into Abu Asab. So I guess that's a good thing. But
well, what happened when you called the mayor's office?
Eventually, they told me that I had to file the local equivalent of a Freedom of Information Act request simply to get the wording of the public proclamation. I've never heard of such a thing. It's insane.
Usually they read the proclamation at these kinds of events.
That's all they're about is ceremonial. The idea that it's, a secret, top secret that you have to get clearance for is really shocking, to say the least.
So you think that this, the good that came out of this is that they are looking into Abu Asab?
Look, a balance has to be made. How much do you look into people's private lives? And it's a reasonable idea to consider people's privacy. But once someone is entering the offices of elected officials and seeking government action on their behalf, I think it's appropriate to look into exactly who are these people. And in particular, what he was convicted for is a crime that has to do with dishonesty.
Sure.
So why would you take this person's word, and just accept whatever he's telling you and put the information in a proclamation? That I found really troublesome. Not the fact that personally, the fact that they had this Palestinian American Day on the day when it's really at the same time as
Israel Independence Day. Yeah.
It's a provocation.
Sure, I believe it's a provocation. Now, did you ever find out what the proclamation said?
Nope.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Maybe our good friend Congressman Bill Pascrell could fill us in on that. Yeah, lots of luck with that. Hey, listen, Lori, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. We'll have you back. We'll call you the first week of July, find out how that went, and keep on this and let us know if anything changes here.
I sure will. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Lori Lowenthal Marcus, ladies and gentlemen, president and co-founder of Z Street, columnist at the Jewish Press. Crazy stuff, right? Just crazy stuff. She has to get a Freedom of Information Act or something equivalent to FOIA to find out what was in the proclamation naming it Palestinian American Day in the city of Patterson. They won't tell her what the proclamation said. I mean, is this insane? Every event like this that I've ever been to, when they proclaim it such and such day, they read it at the ceremony, How long could it be? What, did it call for the destruction of Israel? Did it call for a Palestinian state? What did it call for? What was in it that's so secretive? Hey, Bill, Congressman, we used to be friends. He used to come on my show and debate Peter King almost every other Sunday morning when I did Sunday mornings at WABC, in addition to other things over the course of 24 years. He and Peter King used to debate, and they were great debates. But something happened that he didn't like something I said or did or whatever. Same with Elliot Engel. Elliot Engel, don't even get me started. Elliot Engel did an interview with me. At this time, I was on WWRL in New York. And Elliot Engel didn't like the fact that we took what he said and put it out there, gave it to like the Daily News or something, and they wrote a story on it. And when they found out, I said, wait, what do you think? It's a secret? You say it on the air and I can't give it to a newspaper? You think it's private between us? So that was the end of Elliot Engel. We disagreed on everything, but at least we had debates. These people don't want to be challenged. And when they say something that they regret, and I know I could smell news, and when I know it's going to be news and I make it news, then they don't want to come back. Well, you know what? That's life in a big city. All right, we're going to come back. You know the story of this, the lesbian high school student, 18 years old. She turned down a plea deal in the case with a relationship with a 14-year-old in the bathroom of her high school. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530.
This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
A tragic fire, a break-in, a fall. Look, accidents and emergencies really do happen. The difference between life and death could be as simple as the push of a button. That's where Medical Guardian comes in. Are you afraid that something tragic may happen with no one around to help? What if you or your elderly loved one had a fall and lay for hours or even days before any help arrived? What if it was just too late? You don't have to live in fear that something terrible could happen. It's time you discovered Medical Guardian. Life-saving help at the push of a button. Get the peace of mind you need for yourself and your loved ones. Call 800-550-3470 right now. Be one of the first 100 callers and get your first month of Medical Guardian free. 800-550-3470. Call now and get your first month for free. The help you need is at your fingertips. Ensure your safety today with Medical Guardian. 800-550-3470. That's 800-550-3470.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
I am the captain. Welcome back, Steve Malzberg with you. Hey, tomorrow on this show, I'm so excited. You know, we talked to vice presidents, former defense secretaries, congressmen, senators. Steve Schirripa will be here tomorrow. Steve Schirripa, the actor from The Sopranos. Of course, he's done other things as well. But I was such a Soprano freak. I mean, Sunday nights, that's when I had HBO, okay? Sunday nights, it was, I won't say it was appointment television. I hate that term. Is it appointment radio? How do you make your show appointment radio? All these consultants, you know, appointment radio. No. You love a show, you put it on. Appointment. Oh, it's appointment radio, Mildred. I got to listen to the Steve Malzberg show, appointment radio. Anyway, it wasn't appointment TV. It was must-watch TV, okay? Just went without saying. Then I think 9 o'clock on Sunday night. So was it 10 o'clock? Was Curb Your Enthusiasm at 9? No. 9 o'clock, then Curb came on afterward. Anyway, So Steve Sharippa will be here. Got a brand new book out about raising daughters, raising girls. Very interesting stuff. Talk to him about the Knicks and Sopranos and his book. Good stuff. So be here for that and everything else. We're also going to talk to Wendy Murphy, former federal prosecutor, about the news. Unfortunate news today. A Florida judge, and I don't like this judge, Deborah Nelson. I don't like her. I don't like her. And did I mention I don't like her? Florida judge ruling that George Zimmerman's defense team cannot mention Trayvon Martin's suspension from school, prior marijuana use, text messages talking about fighting and violence, or past fighting during their opening statements at the trial. The whole case, this is what the case centers around, okay? It's not why did he follow Trayvon. We know why he followed him. Not that the police told him don't. The police said you don't have to do that. That's not the case. The case is he's saying it was self-defense. This man attacked me when we came face to. He jumped me from behind, pushed me to the ground, started beating me. And we've heard all along that Trayvon Martin was just a little boy, Pierce Morgan, with a bag of Skittles and a Snapple iced tea, a bag of Skittles. And Trayvon Martin was not a little boy. He was bigger than George Zimmerman. The pictures we were shown were when he was 12, 5-year-old pictures. And according to the texts and the history, and like I said, he had been suspended from school. He had prior marijuana use. He had text messages, fighting. He used to fight. He referenced it, how he bloodied the guy, but that wasn't good enough. The jury's going to have to be convinced that George Zimmerman defended himself. And why isn't this relevant? I think this is so relevant to show that this guy who George Zimmerman had to defend himself against, has a history of liking fighting, doing drugs, getting in trouble, speaks to the fact that he might attack George Zimmerman, doesn't it? So I don't like this judge. I don't think he's going to get a fair trial from this judge. Not one bit. I don't. So that's out. Also, the defense wanted the jury to go to the scene of the crime so they could understand where it all happened. Judge said no. Judge said that request is disingenuous because the judge is going to the jury is going to remain anonymous. So how could they go to the scene of the crime? What does one thing have to do with the other? I just don't like her. Anyway, she granted numerous motions by the prosecutors who asked that the defense be barred from bringing up details of his past, saying they wouldn't be relevant. Just outrageous stuff. So we'll talk to Wendy Murphy. Now, there's a case. This lesbian high school student, 18 years old, Caitlin Hunt, she was arrested on felony sexual assault charges for a relationship with a 14-year-old female classmate. She refused a plea deal. So her case is going to go to court. She could spend years in jail if she's convicted. The plea deal would have been home arrest for 2 years, with where I don't know if she'd have to stay in the house for 2 years or not, but home arrest for 2 years, classified as a sexual predator, which she's going to be if she gets found guilty, and she'll be in jail. Now, of course, they're parading her around as some kind of victim, that because she's a lesbian. But let's listen to cut number 2 here. This is Kelly Hunt Smith, the mother of Caitlin Smith. Cut 2.
This is killing us as a family. And I would just beg for them to look at that and look at the reality of it. Listen to their own child, what she says, and just what's the purpose of this?
Purpose of this is your daughter statutorily raped a 14-year-old girl, 4 years her younger. Your daughter's an adult, and she raped a 14-year-old. I think in the bathroom of the high school, if I'm not mistaken. Here's cut 3. This is the attorney representing the minor who was attacked. Go.
This is a violation of the law that's based upon an adult having sexual relations with a minor. The gender, sexual orientation of the parties has absolutely nothing to do with the prosecution.
Okay, let's skip to cut 5. This is Lisa Bloom, CNN or NBC legal analyst, I believe, NBC. And here's cut 5.
Very reluctantly, if she were my client, I would say yes. 2 years house arrest is a long time, but she's facing up to 15 years in prison. I mean, this is a pretty tough law. She can petition the court under what's called the Romeo and Juliet statute in Florida, which is essentially that she would not be on the sex offender rolls because she's 18. The victim was only 4 years younger than her. It's her first offense. So in the long term, not all that bad for her. In the 2-year short term, pretty bad.
And what's the alternative? If she doesn't take the plea, she goes to court. Isn't the verdict going to be guilty because she's acknowledged this conduct? And as we just discussed, the law is pretty straightforward on this.
She really doesn't have a defense. Ignorance of the law is not a defense. I thought she was older is not a defense.
All right, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.